Oh, there's honey at the stem.
甘いな。
毒ですけどね。そんなことはないので大丈夫ですよ。
She's underage. Cat is
ありが
out.
とうございます。
Lady Ado is not really talking to Mao Mao. Lady Ado is just simply venting when Mao Mao happens to be there. So Mao Mao is right. Mao Mao right now is not here, sitting next to, listening, and holding space for Lady Ado. She's simply a body within the space of Lady Ado simply venting out. Hello friends, my name is Benoit Kim, a UPenn educated psychotherapist and a master of overanalysis. Welcome to my detailed psychological analysis with the flair of social cultural backgrounds of the Apothecaries, episode 11. Assassination Zero, Vinny, Greg Boach, Foxglow Gaming, Crisco94, Jen Negre, Wu Yixiang, and Project Norway are their sponsored tier highlights of today's video. I appreciate your support. Shout out to the best Patreon family and YouTube members. Sit back and I hope you enjoy.
抑揚碑からの文？
ええ、直接お届けするようにと。
アードー様は茶会に出ているのだけど。
ん？
フォンミン様にお話ししたいことがあります。
わかったわ。
Boom. What did we say in episode 10? People who are overly seemingly nice, overly seemingly friendly, almost suspiciously so, most likely are suspicious, right? And we just saw that quick glimpse of Lady Fengming kind of freeze, and her mask and her facade of this always smiley face kind of disappeared for a quick second, and she was stunned. And I'm sure whatever she saw was in that little box. And just a quick social cultural background, since everyone said that you guys appreciate my cultural understanding of this show, given my Chinese backgrounds, is that box that Mao Mao brought forth to Fengming is a really, really nice box, right? And we saw the little patterns and floral design and so on. So those boxes are usually where people put their makeups or highly valuable items in that box. And those box in itself is extremely valuable. And only people who are upper rank or with some sort of affluent background can have possession of such. That's why Fengming looked at that box and knew it's not from Mao Mao herself, but rather someone higher up. Let's see what's unfolding this episode. Very excited.
荷物が整理されている。ということはやっぱり。
どうぞ。それで、今日は一体どうしたの？
She said all the luggages are packed up. Does that mean Fengming is ready to go on a run or flight, run away? Because she indeed is a culprit, or again, is Fengming covering up for someone else? Maybe Lady Ado? We'll see.
大掃除はもう十分よ。
いつ引っ越されるのですか？
察しがいいの。
Very smart.
大掃除は表向きの理由ですね。新年の挨拶とともに新しい上級妃を迎えるために。
Oh.
アードー妃はもう子を産めないのですね。
Oof.
出産時に何があったのですか？
あなたには
出産の場にいたのは私の父。
Oh, what?
不幸なのは
What?
皇宮妃だったアードー妃の出産が時の皇后の出産と時期が重なったことでしょうか。
Fengming's true colors. You see that? No more smiley face. No more this overly friendly, overly diligent, overly nice head lady in waiting. Because remember, as Mao Mao said since the get-go, anyone that is the head of ladies in waiting come from a prestigious family. So it is very weird that someone in that power of position is so overly nice and friendly and who's willing to do the dirty work. Fengming's true colors were forced to be revealed and uncovered by Mao Mao.
いかんはまだ戻ってこれないの？
That's
まだ
Fengming.
皇后様のところに。アードー様、アードー様、大丈夫です。
Dang. Oh, so the prince died?
アードー様。
Oh.
その時ですね。アードー妃が子宮を失っ幼くして亡くなって しまった。フォンミン様は責任を感じているのではないですか。当時出産後の体調が
何もかも知ってるのね。アードー様を助けることもできなかったヤブの娘なの。
I guess calling I guess the term quack doctor is used commonly. That's used to describe the current palace physician, which we all know he is a quack doctor. But Feng Ming's also calling Mao Mao's dad as a quack because he couldn't save her or the baby. But of course, in actuality, he was attending the empress, the mother to the current emperor, because that is the high priority, right? Different hierarchy. So I guess quack is just a term they give out to anyone who they dislike.
そうですね。赤子の死因はこの間の毒を白い事件と同じだと思われて
Lead
います。
poisoning.
それは違いますよね。
Whoa. Yo, Feng Ming looks so much scarier without that smiley face. Oh my gosh, dude. Whoa.
あなたの言うそのヤブ医者はおしろいを使うのを禁じてたはずです。聡明なあなたがそれによって赤子を死なせることはない。本当の死因はこれです。
Honey.
鼻の中には毒のあるものも多い。
I don't know what those are, but
がある。
知っているわ。
でもあなたは知らなかった。
oh.
毒を含まないただの蜂蜜が毒になること。
Feng Ming killed the baby. Feng Ming killed the prince, newborn prince, because newborn babies, infants, they don't have the immunity system. They don't have the immunities developed to absorb and even digest and combat such a potent ingredient such as honey. Again, I'm not a chemist or a pharmacist or medical doctor, so I don't know anything besides that. But it is true though. Honey is too potent. It's very hard to be digest and let alone be absorbed by underdeveloped organs and internal biological systems such as infants. Wow. And can we talk about this crazy, beautiful writing with this full circle moment? The first case that led Mao Mao to be discovered by the emperor and upper power people in Royal Palace was the makeup, the lead poisoning incident with Lady Li Hua. The first incident, the first mystery, the first life that was saved by Mao Mao was the makeup, right? And then the first palace physician that bans that poisonous makeup that had lead poisoning was Mao Mao's father. Full circle. Mao Mao's father banned the poison in the royal palace from that lead poisoning makeup, and Mao Mao is the apothecary that uncovered that and was able to save and solve the mystery slash another death, which led Mao Mao to who she is now and how she became a lady in waiting for Lady Ryukyu. Full circle. Amazing.
いいえ、アードー様はお体を休めて早くお元気になってくださいませ。
アードー妃の子は生きたい。
Tragic.
死因は謎として。度重なる失態により後期を追放されました。
Wow.
それからあなたは偶然にもアードー妃の子の死因を知ることとなる。ある人物が蜂蜜は赤子にとっては
Oof. Oh.
消そうと考えた。その人物こそがリー・シュヒです。
Aww. Oh. Wow.
フォンミン様は安堵されたでしょうね。しかし二度と会うことはないと思われたリー
Came
シュ
back.
再び高級に
Yo.
同じ上級妃としてアードー妃を追いやる立場としてずうずうしくもその子娘は母親を求めるように
Wow.
何度もアードー妃に会いに来ようとする。子を産めないアードー妃の立場を守るため、そして蜂蜜の剣を隠すために
Yo, look at those
リ
eyes.
ーシュ妃のスープに毒を入れた。
Yo, so all right, someone tell me, what is the actual genre and category of the Apothecary Diaries? Is this a thriller? Is it a psychological mystery? Is it a detective? Is it a historical drama? What is the official genre and descriptions for the Apothecary Diaries? Of course, it's all of the above. Unfreaking believable. I won't go into much because Mama already deduced the entire strings of events, the entire sequences, exactly what happens. And she was able to pieces all the disconnected pieces into this comprehensive, holistic whole of this full picture, which is what clinicians like myself, in terms of a clinical psychology and psychotherapist or medical doctors do, right? We do that by through diagnostic assessments, definition right here, diagnostic assessments, to pieces all the different pieces of their biopsychosocial. We call that biopsychosocial assessment, right? Biology, psychology, biopsychosocial, so their social backgrounds. But we become even more comprehensive. We do bio, psycho, social, cultural, and even spiritual. Because spiritual health has been deemed and recognized by APA, American Psychological Association, as one of the facets of our overall health. And of course, cultural backgrounds like immigration status, language, and so on also play a big factor. So biopsychosocial, cultural, and spiritual assessment is what we do now during our diagnostic assessment. But through these pieces, we are able to piece the entire picture of all the pieces into a full picture. That's what Mamao did through her deduction skills, non-clinically, but deduction skills, to find out why Feng Ming was the culprit and attempted to murder, right, the poor innocent concubine who wanted nothing but to bond with Lady Ado. And one quick thing I'll zoom in on, because Mama said this in passing. She said that they started to develop this codependency because Lady Ado is unable to bear a child because her uterus was damaged or, impaired. And Feng Ming accidentally killed the prince at the time because the potency and the poisonous nature of honey against the infants with underdeveloped immunity system. She said that there was a codependency. And this is a very complex topic, so I'll try to keep it brief. So codependency, the actual term, is originated from addiction. Definition right here, codependency. Codependency is originally used and originated from the addiction realm because two users, usually their partners, could be boyfriend, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever it is. Two partners, usually they're able to do drugs together and get high. But then the users, one of the partners will enable the other person, saying like, hey, let's get high. Let's do it together. Come on, don't let me get high by myself. Don't you want to get high with me? Don't you love me anymore? What, you want to get sober? So you want to leave me? All these guilt tripping, it happens either consciously or subconsciously. So we call this enabling behavior within the codependency. So codependency is from the addiction realm because partners tend to enable each other to engage and further perpetuate the addiction cycle. But then now people use it through like a relationship and relational context. So it has extrapolated beyond addiction realm. So in here, that's what codependency is. Because Lady Ado no longer can bear a child or children, she lost her ability to reproduce new offsprings. She started to grow fond and grew closer and attached to the young concubine because she's so young. Lady Li Shu, right? She's very young. And vice versa. Lady Li Shu, who was forced, she was forced to be taken away from her parents for this political marriage. And many commentators did say from recent episodes that she never had a say to be married to the previous emperor, Sanzai, who was a pedophile, and also to force to leave the royal palace. And also she never had a say to come back to the royal palace to be married again as a new high-ranking concubine to the current emperor, who sounds like who is not a pedophile, much respect. So she never really had a say in any of this political arranged marriages, it sounds like. It was a political move, period. But because of their circumstances, a mother who lost her child and a child who was forced separated from her parents, they start to grow fond of each other, like a codependency. I don't think it's a toxic sense that we usually say it in this relationship context or addiction context. That's why I wanted to share the context and the definition of codependency. Because at least from the context and the information revealed thus far, I don't see any unhealthy codependence dynamic that's toxic between Lady Ado and Lady Lishu. At least that's the context given. But that's what codependency is. It started from the addiction background to now more in a relationship, toxic relationship dynamic.
何でもいいのよ。
What the heck? She's so creepy, dude.
そんなの意味がないことをご自分で分かっているでしょう。
What's meaningless? Trying to bribe Mao Mao to hush hush? Trying to threaten Mao Mao because Mao Mao is connected to Master Jinshi and other powerful ladies like Lady Gyokyo, obviously. So what is meaningless? No, she's not gonna hurt Mao Mao. No way.
あなたは一番大切な人の一番大切なものってわかる？
Loyalty
アードー様に初めてお会いした時から
or trust?
この方以外に仕えるべき人はいないと感じていたわ。女でありながらしっかりした意志を持ち、東宮と同じ目線で話せる。
Wow.
アードー様を心から尊敬。言われるがままに次女になった私と比べてどれほど衝撃を受けたことか。
Wow, respect.
なのに私はこの手で奪ってしまったのよ。アードー様が玉のように大切にしてきた赤子を。皆が気に病む必要はない。
Oh.
子供は7つになるまでわからないものだ。少しの病気でコロリと死んでしまう。
That's true. Oh. That dialogue of Lady Adol encouraging and asking all her ladies in waitings, especially Feng Ming, who was a primary caregiver to the prince at the time that passed away, to not blame themselves. Hey, do not blame yourselves. Babies can die of any illnesses, infections, adverse weather, food allergies, and so on. Her first instinct is not to blame her ladies in waitings, not to criticize, not to yell, not to use them as emotional punching bags, because she's so distraught, grieving, despair, depressed about the loss of her baby. But rather, her first instinct is to console, is to provide comfort, is to provide assurance and reassurance. That's the level of respected, honorable, and virtuous concubine Lady Ado is. That's unfreaking believable. Can you imagine a mother grieving the loss of her son, actually consoling and telling the other people, other babysitters who took care of her child, the prince, to, hey, don't blame yourselves. But of course, when they're treating you with so much respect and kindness and consideration, I bet Feng Ming, her guilt, her shame only blossomed and grew even bigger and bigger. And that's why she wanted to eliminate all possibilities, any chances, no matter how slim that may be, for Lady Ado to uncover the true cause behind the death of her child. It was not an unknown, a mysterious illnesses, but rather honey, spoon-fed directly and personally by the hands of Lady Feng Ming. And it is an accident, but incident nonetheless. It's tough. Of course.
この16年間どのような思いで仕えていたの。
16 years.
ひたすらアードを
Oh.
わからない。
Mao said, I don't have it in my heart to keep someone so close to my heart. She does. It's her father. But yes, to our knowledge, based on what's been revealed, the only person that Mao even prioritizes above her own well-being, her life and death in the real palace, even when she was kidnapped, was her dad's well-being. Because her dad is aging. He is older. And even her saying that I don't have it in my heart to keep anyone so close, that's a trauma response. Again, without the psychological and clinical knowledge, it seems like a very innocuous and ordinary thing. Yeah, it takes a lot for someone like Lady Fengming to self-sacrifice, to be so selfless and prioritize the well-being of someone else. 16 years of every single day of service, not having her own partner, no relationship, no marriage. Everything she has, everything she does is and for and to Lady Ado. So Mao is right in that sense. But at the same time, I think it's because, again, this is the depiction of Mama's trauma growing up in the red light district, in that brothel, in the entertainment district, where there's poverty, violence, rape, crime, lawlessness, and so on. I think that's her trauma response, where she's maybe been hurt so many times and or witnessed so much trauma, either directly or vicariously, survived so many trauma and so on, that she has developed tremendous trust issues. And this is the reason why she's very adverse and allergic to Master Jianxi, because Master Jianxi is fake according to Mao. He's always has a mask on, and Mao's only seen Master Jianxi's true nature, true self, authentically. When Master Jianxi first gave the hairpin to Mao, when Mao was telling him about why she wears freckles as a defensive safety measurement, right? And that's why Mao can sense people's fakeness or genuineness, whatever the reasons, right? I'm not saying Master Jianxi is fake in a bad way, but Master Jianxi obviously is a man of mystery, and there's a lot to be uncovered, right? And I'm very excited to learn about that. But Mao's saying of I don't have it in me to keep anyone so close is a trauma response. That's a depiction and portrayal of her trust issues because of her traumatic upbringing.
私の話を聞けば、ジンシ様はフォンミンを必ず捕まえる。何があろうと、極刑を。
Oh yeah, she'd be dead.
私に提案があります。
Mama's not gonna tell Jinxi.
結果は変わりません。それでもよろしければ。
Wow, so that's why it's 2-1. That's the title of episode 11. I guess the two motives is what? Is to eliminate all threats that Lady Ado might be able to hear the truth, which is why she attempted to murder and assassinate Lady Li Shu, the younger concubine. And the other one is to cover up on her own mistake from 16 years ago. So 2-1. I don't know how she's going to do that, and I'm sure the second half of this episode will reveal Mao's suggestion. But see, I think Mao's ethics are also interesting. Because in the earlier episode, when she was summoned by the little young girl to cover up that murder, or I guess just homicide attempt that's disguised as double suicide, she chose to not reveal the true reasons why that Curtisan attempted to murder the son of the mercenary because he's just a shitbag. She chose not to reveal that because it's over. And she had great sympathy for courtesans and women of lower socioeconomic status, women from that position, forced position to work in a brothel. Right? So she chose not to reveal that. Despite they almost caused a homicide. Doesn't matter how much a shitbag that son of a mercenary is. I think homicide is wrong. Murder is wrong. And of course, we can argue there are instances where there's justified murder. Sure. It always has to be case by case because life is not black and white. It's often in the gray. Like I often talk about with law and ethics, laws are black and white. It is or it is not. You committed the crime or you did not. You're guilty or you're not guilty. But ethics, which is the practice of law, implementations of laws, the living out of this life. That's what ethics are. It's often in the gray. It's very tricky. Regardless of the reasons, Mao chose not to reveal the truth to save that courtesan from capital punishment. But in this case, because she's here on the direct order of Master Jinshi, who represents the emperor, and a young girl, a 14-year-old concubine, was almost assassinated. It is unacceptable, unforgivable crime. Not just a murder, but a near attempted murder of a child. Children represents innocence. Full stop. It is unacceptable. Period. That's why Mama is still going to report this to Master Jinshi. And Lady Fengming will still, like Mama said, inevitably receive the verdict of being guilty and be put to capital punishment, which means death, by the way. Definition of capital punishment, death sentence. But still, regardless the result, she's still willing to reduce two motives into one so that Fengming's face is saved, but more importantly, concubine Lady Ado's face is also saved because she is virtuous, right? Respect.
疲れた。
Oh, what a long day.
できないし、せめて着替えるか。もしものために油紙を重ねて固定していたが、必要なくてよかった。切られたら痛いからな。
Wow. So again, Mama is not reckless or naive. She showed up because remember, she confronted Lady Fengming one-on-one. No supervision. Master Jinshi wasn't there because if he were, she wouldn't be able to provide the suggestion to reduce two motives into one. But still, she approached Fengming with precautionary measures, like oil paper. I'm guessing it helps with like the layers so if she gets stabbed or slashed, it will help protect her skin. So she's extremely aware. She's very, very strategic and cautious. Much respect. Yeah, Mama, you're really impressive.
というわけで、フォンミンが自首してきたのだが、何か知らないか？
何のことでしょ
ガオシュンに書き物を集めさせていたようだが。
う。ええ、何かわかるかと思いましたが、無駄になってしまいました。
フォンミンの動機は、お前の言った通りアード王妃のため、四夫人の座にとどまれるようにするためだったそうだ。
Ah, I see. So 2-1. So in this case, Fengming, Lady Ado will never find out that Fengming is the one that accidentally killed her son. Because that would be double the trauma, not just for Fengming, but also for Lady Ado. Can you imagine? 16 years later, Lady Ado finds out her most trusted confidant, her most trusted inner circle, her head lady in waiting, Fengming, is the one that killed, accident sure, but nonetheless killed her precious son. Not just accidentally killed him, but also covered up and lied about it. But she didn't just lie about it. She tried to kill another concubine, the 14-year-old Li Shu, who Ado is very endearing of, with that codependency that Mama talked about. That's like quadruple betrayal and heartbreak and trauma for Ado. So I think Mama also did this not just for Fengming, but also for Ado's sake. So that the motive is like the most superficial, obvious one, which is to help Ado to maintain in power, but none of the other stuff. So I guess this is a happy ending amidst unhappiness and misfortune.
しかし、アード王妃は上級妃を降りることが決定している。
Yeah, it doesn't add up,
王宮を出た
but
後、南の離宮に住まうことになった。
今回の件が原因でしょうか。
いや、もともと決まっていた。皇帝の判断だそうだ。さっき本ニャンが飾っていたぞ。
ええ、狂い咲きですね。
うん。
oh, there's honey at the stem.
甘いな。
毒ですけどね。そんなことはないですよ。
Yo, Jinshi, come on, you have to remind yourself Mamao is semi-resistant to poison. So if any times Mamao is tasting something out of excitement, you need to remind yourself it's most likely poisonous. It's sweet, but it's poisonous though. And then freaking, wow, comedic gold, man.
リーシュ妃の毒殺、赤子の死の原因、2つの動機を1つにすれば、赤子の死の原因をアード王妃に知られないようにすることができる。
Exactly.
小娘
I
にで
agree.
きる
I agree.
最大限だった。
Lady Ado. Also, do you see how happy Lady Ado was when Master Jinshi approached? And remember, I made this comment in passing a few episodes ago. They both have purple hair. I know it's like different shades of purple and violets, but still, Lady Ado has purple hair. Jinshi has purple hair. Are they related? Are they like cousins? Or even siblings?
眠れない。散歩でもするか。
So Mao Mao can't sleep here is because of Mao Mao knows that Feng Ming is gonna be punished by death. That's why she is stressed and concerned, even though yes, Feng Ming did a despicable crime of attempted assassin and attempted murder of a 14-year-old child. Still, I think it's very difficult for us to judge someone by their worst mistake because all of us made mistakes. Of course, not as egregious and not as awful as attempted murder of a 14-year-old. And like I said, it is despicable. What Feng Ming did is despicable, period. At the same time, humanity is complex. All of us are multifaceted. And I think Mao Mao appreciates that and recognizes that. And that's why Mao Mao is like, this is the least I can do for a girl with no power. So that's why she still feels, and she still feels sympathy, and her heart still breaks because Feng Ming will be dead soon for another loss of life. And that's why I think she's unable to fall asleep because of all these thoughts, you know, and all the stresses that's going on. Wow, look at that starry sky. No air pollution, huh? Man. Imagine how pretty the sky was back then without pollution
明
like
日に
today.
はアード王妃が高級を去るという。
Wow.
手伝いに来ていた次女だな。
す
Wow.
ぐに帰りますので。
Great minds think alike.
一杯付き合わないか。
She's underage. Cat is
ありが
out.
とうございます。
Dang, the way she chugs. Oh, you know who Lady Ado reminds me of? Mulan. We all know Mulan, right? Because like Mulan is badass. I think the same thing as like Lady Ado. It's a girl, it's a female, but it's got balls of a guy, very strong-willed, very determined, disciplined, charismatic, is able to do things that's unfathomable to women at the time. They're able to transcend and defy the social norms or even gender roles forced upon women of their era. And Lady Ado has that characteristics. So did Mulan. So she reminds me of Mulan. Amazing.
男のようであろ。
振る舞っているように見えます。
正
Interesting.
直者だな。
Interesting.
息子がこの手からい。私は妃ではなく、皇帝の友
Oh.
人だったんだ。
Because they're closer age, right?
まさか妃になるなんて思わなかった。お情けで飾りの妃をやっていただけ。早く誰かに受け渡。
I see.
きっとここにいたのが誰であっても同じ話をしたのだろうな。
It's true. Lady Ado is not really talking to Mao Mao. Lady Ado is just simply venting when Mao Mao happened to be there. So Mao Mao is right. Mao Mao right now is not here, sitting next to, listening, and holding space for Lady Ado. She's simply a body within the space of Lady Ado simply venting out. So she's just a vessel. Mao Mao is just a vessel in this time, which is very important nonetheless. And I just want to call back to some of the comments that maybe many people hinted at. I don't know if this counted spoilers or not, but as I talked about in episode 9, please avoid spoilers. I will be blocking out and deleting comments, period. Let me come up with my own conclusions, analysis, and predictions. But it does sound like, according to many, that emperors, they urged me to give emperor more leniency and open-minded because I do approach many emperors of the historical settings because we all know most emperors or any people in position who happen to be men for predominant period historical time are pretty evil, bad dudes because power corrupts. However, absolute power corrupts absolutely. At the same time, sounds like Emperor's order to have Lady Ado to leave Royal Palace into a detached place in the south is because it's out of endearment. It's out of consideration. Sounds like Lady Ado were friends with emperors. There is no sexual or intimate relationships between them. Concubine title was given to Lady Ado out of pity, so that I think Lady Ado can grieve and be reminiscent of her past son, deceased prince. And I think Emperor knows that as a friend, as a good friend, even it sounds like, to have Ado, Lady Ado remain in the royal palace, the place represented and symbolized the birth of Ado's child and also the death of her child. So it's like a setting, it's like a place of grief, grieving place. It's a place to honor and memorialize her deceased prince. So that's the only reason why Ado was clinging onto the title of concubine for so long. She doesn't really care to be one of the 4 upper ranking concubines. She was not having any sexual relationships with emperor. Sounds like they were just a pure platonic friendships. And I think finally when Lady Ado is ready to depart and complete and done with her grieving process, I think Emperor, as a dear friend, is allowing Ado to leave the royal palace. And I'm sure, I don't know if Emperor came up with this suggestion first or if Ado, as a friend, asked Emperor herself first. It could be chicken or the egg, and it doesn't really matter. The point is, Emperor sounds like he's like a decent guy, a decent emperor. And that's the reason why they're friends. Because remember, Ado is a virtuous person. And a person of virtue, like Lady Ado, would not befriend Emperor if he was your ship back. Does that make sense?
水の中は寒かっただろうな。苦しかっただろうな。
Aww.
そうかもしれません。
みんなバカだ。
Lady Ado is saying that Feng Ming is baka. Is baka. Feng Ming is stupid for trying to murder people to retain her power as a concubine. But of course, the true reason Lady Ado does not know. Otherwise, she would be absolutely heartbroken and felt betrayed for like the 4th time. Because Feng Ming was very, very solid to Lady Ado. Truly. What a great person Lady Ado is.
やはりあの下女は自殺だったのだ。
What?
フォンミンは自殺に加担していたのかもしれない。アードー妃に嫌疑がかからぬようにと冷たい水の中に沈んだ下女。知られたくない秘密を守り、自ら公主台に上がったフォンミン。
何をしている？
Oh! It's Jinshi.
誰だよいきなり。
悪かったな。
うわ、人士様、なぜここに？
それは俺の方が聞きたい。
すみません、今どきます。話していただけますか？
Uh-oh.
話してください。
He's sad.
寒いからやだ。
上着もなしでは風邪をひきますから、部屋に戻ってください。お酒を飲んでいるのですか？
Oh, obviously.
付き合いだ。仕方ない。
Oh, Lady Ado. Oh, Ado was
話は
drinking.
俺を先に誘って飲ませるだけ飲ませたあげ
Lady Ado
どこかへ出かけてしまった。戻ってきたと思ったらすっきりしたから帰れと追い出された。
このお方をそんな風に扱える人間がこの高級にもいるのだな。
Also, again, no spoilers. Many times I'm asking questions out loud because I'm just thinking out loud. Who is the only person within the entire palace, entire nation, that is allowed to enter the chambers or pavilions of concubines, let alone 4 upper-ranking concubines like Lady Ado? Is the emperor himself. Because these women, these concubines, are the possessions and women of the emperor, period. And we know that Master Jinshi has a secret mission by emperor to see if all concubines are loyal to the emperor himself. But then, and Master Jinshi has very clear boundaries, right? He will not enter the pavilions or these of these chambers of the concubines by his own will. He only enters them to carry out his missions or tasks or commands of the emperor. But in this case, we see that he said yes to Lady Ado's invitation, sounds like, and enters her chamber. So who is Master Jinshi? Again, no spoilers, but he is much higher than what he appears to be. Yes, he's a manager of the entire royal palace, but that in itself does not give him the jurisdictions or power to enter the bedrooms and chambers of upper rank concubines. Only emperor can do that. But yet we see Jinshi, Master Jinshi, doing that over and over again, let alone sharing drinks and getting drunk with one of the 4 upper concubines, Lady Ado. Sure, we can say that this is the night before she leaves the royal palace, but I know now for a fact, based on all these clues and foreshadowing, Master Jinshi is a lot higher, much higher ranking, has much more power, resides in a much higher power position than the manager of the royal palace. Otherwise, he would not be able to get drunk with the concubine, Lady Ado. Wow.
ベタベタひっつく酔っ払いに付き合っていや、よく考えると元は私が落ちてきて受け止めてもらったんだから礼も言わずさっさと話せというのは失礼かもしれないジンシ様
Oh, he's crying. Yeah. He's crying.
もう少しだけだ。少しだけ。
Yeah, I knew he was sad. Also, we see that Mamao's resistance, physical resistance against Master Jinshi has subsided and dwindled down over the episodes. Because I think just like Jinshi is getting to know the real and true Mamao, I think vice versa, Mamao is also getting to know the true and real Master Jinshi. That's why she's becoming less resistant physically against Master Jinshi, or Mamao is getting less physically resistant against Jinshi. But here, again, Jinshi is being more genuine, being more real, more authentic, without the fake mask. That's why Mamao is letting Jinshi hold her a little bit longer, because I think she also understood in this moment that he is grieving. So it goes back to my question. What is the relationship between Lady Ado and Master Jinshi? Are they just really dear, good friends through their years of service and time spent in the palace together? Or are they cousins or family relatives or other hidden relationships? Look at their purple hair, dude. They're like identical. They gotta know each other. They gotta be distant relatives or something. So now there's 3 upper ranking concubines. I knew she resembles someone. What did I say, bro? Y'all. I knew they're families. They're families. They're related by blood. Yeah. For real. Oh.
息子がこの手からいなくなってからずっと。
いなくなってから死んでからではなくまるでまだ生きているようにも捉えられる。
After my son left me? No fucking way. Hold up. Is Master Jinshi the freaking first son of Lady Ado? Because she's 35. Some commenters said that Jinshi is like 19. So that's like 16 years difference, right? So Ado can 100% bear a child at age 15 or 16 and give birth to Master Jinshi for sure. So is Master Jinshi a fucking secret prince? Is Master Jinshi the secret prince and the first son, firstborn of Lady Ado? That's why after my son left me, not dead. So like Mamao deducing right here, I can almost interpret that to mean that he's still alive. That's why Master Jinshi was crying. He wouldn't cry if he was just a good friend. He could visit her, right? It's because this is his mom. What the fuck's going on? What?
同時に生まれたアードー妃の子供と当時の皇后の子供2人がもし取り替えられていたとしたら。
何をする？まだアードー様が皇后様が優先だ。
What?
もとより当時の皇后のもとに生まれた赤子の方が庇護を受けるということを。何が正しいのか。であれば、それはアードー妃の本望だっただろう。後日赤子が取り替えられたのがバレたとする。もしそれが肉刑まで受けたことにも。
What? The
もしそうなら
F?
皇帝の弟が今微妙な立場にあることも。わかるが、
What?
実にくだらないバカバカしいくらいの妄想だ。
No, bro, Mama, you're onto something. Yo, that. What? I got full body goosebumps. So I stand corrected with what I said earlier. Lady Ado remained in Real Palace for so long is not to grieve the lost, swapped son, prince of her child, but rather for Master Jinshi. She stayed in the Real Palace for Master Jinshi. Because we know for a fact Master Jinshi was crying. And we know he's been drinking under the starry sky, under the moonlight, by himself since a few episodes ago. Because this order was given out by the emperor himself for Lady Ado to leave the Real Palace, which means this order has been carried out a while back. And who carries out the order of the emperor to the Real Palace? Master Jinshi. Because that means Master Jinshi is one of the first people to know about this order for Lady Ado to leave the Royal Palace. That's why he's been grieving. That's why he's been crying and drinking by himself under the moonlight. Yo, I am bamboozled.
相変わ
Wow,
ら
I'm speechless,
ずですな。
dude.
孤独な救いになるだろう。
Yeah, okay, so there's one. Oh no. Oh. Oh.
その時、青年のような凛々しい妃の顔が
Oh, that
母親
maternal
の顔に見
bond.
えた。
That bond of the maternal love, mother, daughter. Oh, storm's coming. What the heck? We're about to see some crazy cliffhanger again.
社の名簿です。
さらわれて売り飛ばされたと聞いていたが。
You see that storm brewing? And remember, weather is usually an external symbolism of an intense plot that's to come. So we'll see what happens in episode 12. As always, without further ado, if you guys enjoy my analysis, smash a thumbs up. I pour my heart out. And double check, are you subscribed? Because if you're not, you will miss out on my next video and my next series. And as always, before you head out, share something you learned from this episode. And if you have any other follow-up questions, I'll be sure to respond and answer to my best of my ability. As always, shout out to the best patron family and growing YouTube members. You guys mean the world and you guys mean tremendously. Seriously, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. As always, until next time, peace.